Welcome back, folks. The new and improved random video blog. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, where I run down every single Friday my rambling thoughts in the wrestling world, share a few stories, etc., etc. And as you can tell, we've finally gone HD, baby. I know it's long overdue. I used to do this kind of thing when I used to film the videos with my phone. I talked about it 2-3 weeks ago here in the random video blog about vlogging tips and YouTube advice, blah, blah, blah. And I also teased I would get a feature camera at some point. And we finally got one. I ordered one last week. It took about a week to get here. It got here this past Wednesday. And no better time for it to arrive than right before NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2 tomorrow night, which I will be in attendance for. And what better way to celebrate TakeOver weekend? I was going to say SummerSlam weekend, but I feel like a lot more people are excited for TakeOver than SummerSlam, which is saying something because SummerSlam is stacked. But I've talked a lot about SummerSlam here in the video blog for the past 2 years or so. Last year I did my favorite SummerSlam pay-per-views, my favorite SummerSlam memories, so on and so forth. SummerSlam 2015 experience, which I will be doing next week as well, if we don't give anything away on Wrestle Rant Radio and hashtag AskGSM and all that other kind of stuff. Because this weekend is going to be crazy. I'll be at TakeOver, I'll be at SummerSlam, I'll be at Raw hopefully as well. I got my tickets, it's just a matter of getting there. And you know, I said at the start of the year I will be at all 3 shows, and I do exactly what I'm saying I'm going to do, and I will be at all 3 shows this weekend. So, like I said, guys, TakeOver tomorrow, though, is the first stop on the No Sleep Till Brooklyn tour. So, with that being said, I thought today in our all-new set, and by the way, before we get started here, I just do want to say this. I know, like, this is my room that I'm currently living in at home before I go back to school in a few more weeks. Hopefully, when I go back to school, I'll have a better setup. I know we finally have the HD camera. The audio is finally good with my mic. I've had that for a while now, but it was all about the camera and getting this HD setup and getting rid of those goddamn black bars. And, hopefully, when I go back to school, I'll be able to showcase all my wrestling shit, all my memorabilia, posters, whatever. This really isn't much of a set currently as it stands right now, but hopefully when I go back to school in a few more weeks, we will have a better set. So just keep that in mind for the time being. But like I said, TakeOver tomorrow. Before Back to Brooklyn 2, I will be running down my top 5 favorite TakeOver specials of all time. And that being said, it's really tough to rank them. I'm probably going to do a list. Maybe. I don't know if I'll be able to get around to it before tomorrow or whatever. I just have so much stuff to do in order to get prepared for the weekend. But I was going to rank, and maybe I'll do it next week after TakeOver Brooklyn 2. But I was going to rank from best to worst. I mean, again, best and favorite are 2 very different things. So while watching this video, just keep that in mind. My favorite takeovers may not reflect the best takeovers, if that makes sense. Like I could say the Fatal 4-Way takeover from September of 2014, well, it kind of ranks pretty low on the list in my opinion. It could be my favorite. You know, favorite and best are 2 very different things. My emotional attachment to those events, so on and so forth. So just keep that in mind while watching this video. But again, we've had, I think up to this point, 11 different takeovers. I think Dallas was the 10th, I remember. So at the end must have been the 11th, and tomorrow's the 12th. But of every single one that we've had, we have not had a bad one yet. Maybe some, obviously some have been better than others, but we have yet to have a bad TakeOver special. Even including Arrival, the first ever TakeOver special on the WWE Network, was a phenomenal event. Back in February of 2014, I watched that live, and I tweeted out that night 2.5 years ago, this is a fucking revolution. Maybe without the fucking, but I said this is a revolution. If you're not already watching NXT on a regular basis, you absolutely goddamn should be. Because NXT is the best thing going in WWE right now, and that still stands true to this day. So again, top 5 favorite TakeOver specials. What better way to kick off the list than at number 5, TakeOver Respect from October of 2015. And I literally just made this list. I thought I made this list a couple weeks ago. I guess I didn't, because I knew I was going to be talking about my favorite takeovers here today, but I thought I made the list prior to this. I guess I didn't. The top 3 were no-brainers. It was 4 and 5 that it kind of... 4 was kind of a no-brainer too. 5 was a struggle. 5, I would say I was going to tie with Respect or Rival. I really liked Rival, or what was the other one? The End, from just recently, from back in June. I just recently rewatched that show. I thought that was a great show. But I don't know, man. I thought Respect was really, really underrated. Again, not the greatest takeover they ever did, but watching it back in certain matches from that show and just the way the overall presentation, the first takeover. I mean, it was kind of weird because we've had a lot of takeovers in the past year. Brooklyn last year was in Brooklyn, obviously. We had the one in December was in London. The one in April was in Dallas. So we had this one, Full Sail University show, which obviously they aired from for many months before finally taking it outside of the United States or outside of Full Sail. For Brooklyn, London, Dallas, but they came back home to Full Sail for the October special last year. Watched it over RJ's place. I think it was my first takeover watching it with him. We watched Dallas, London, and that one together. first one over his place, over the Marceau residence back at Endicott College. And it was such a fun time. That show, I mean, again, I did not expect it to be as good as it was. I mean, you had a lot of good matches on that card. You had the in-ring debut of Asuka in a pretty good match against Dana Brooke, who was and still very much is green to this day. The semifinals and finals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. You had a great match, in my opinion, the most underrated match, one of the most underrated matches in NXT in 2015 between Baron Corbin and Rhino against the American Alpha. You had Finn Balor and Samoa Joe against the Future Revival and Dash and Dawson. You had an amazing women's main event between Bayley and Sasha Banks, the first ever Iron Woman match for the NXT Women's Championship. Phenomenal match. As well as Apollo Crews versus Tyler Breeze. I think those were all the matches. But that was a great show, start to finish. And again, watching it back and thinking about it back now, kind of in retrospect, really was an awesome show. I have yet to watch it back in its entirety, but I hope to do so, hopefully on the 1 year anniversary of the show, or as we get closer to October or whatever. But coming off everything, I just remember that week being so stacked. There was a lot of shit going on that October. We had Parents Weekend that weekend. They had Bound for Glory that Sunday, the MSG special. But to top it all off, we had TakeOver Respect, and it was such a really, really good show that, held in honor of Dusty, so no better title than Respect. So a really, really good show, and my top 5 favorite TakeOver special of all time. So we move forward here to number 4, NXT TakeOver London, the subsequent special from December of 2015, held, I believe, in the Wembley Arena in London, England. I know obviously it was in London. I don't know the exact arena. I'm pretty sure it was in the Wembley Arena, not the O2. But again, a really, really good special. I watched that one again at RJ's place only mere days before we went on breaks. There was this electric energy, surrounding the show and just us watching it. And it started at 3 o'clock on a Wednesday. For most people, and me, probably any other week out of the year would have been so inconvenient. I might have been in class. People are working, doing other shit. But again, it worked out so perfectly because we had TLC that past Sunday, which we were at in Boston. Raw that Monday, which was a great show where Roman Reigns won the WWE World Heavyweight Championship for the second time from Sheamus. And then you had TakeOver that Wednesday. And that was finals week before we got off break. Literally, like I said, 2 or 3 days before we left for break. And so we were both off. I had the entire day free. Could not have worked out any better. We watched it live. Great show, start to finish. That card featured Asuka versus Emma, and a really good opening match. You had an amazing, one of my favorite NXT Tag Team title matches of all time, between the Revival and Enzo and Cass. Again, another really, really underrated match. You had those 2 bouts. You had Bayley versus Nia Jax. I was not a huge fan of, but it was still an alright match. Baron Corbin versus Apollo Crews, good match as well. And a really good match in the main event between Samoa Joe and Finn Balor. So again, just great show, start to finish. This just electric energy surrounding NXT at that time from the amazing rabid audience in London. And again, one of those shows where you tell the non-fans of NXT, people who do not watch on a regular basis, this is the next big thing. Not only is it the next big thing, it is the biggest thing going, the best thing going in WWE right now. So again, great show. That comes in at number 4. Coming in at number 3 here on the list is TakeOver Dallas. Again, the subsequent special. I'm not going in order here, I promise. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe the end is the next one, but it just kind of worked out this way. NXT TakeOver Dallas from WrestleMania weekend, April 1st, 2016. And again, obviously emanating from Dallas, Texas. The same site as WrestleMania 32. Easily surpassing WrestleMania 32. Just a great weekend. Once again, watching at RJ's place. Really good show, start to finish. And some people might say the greatest takeover they ever did. I don't know. I'll get to that a little bit later on, but still a really good show, start to finish. And it can be arguably one of the greatest takeovers. Easily one of the greatest takeovers they ever did with the star-studded card that they had. Bayley and Asuka, I liked it at the time. I liked it even more watching it back right before the end a few months ago. Really, really good women's match. We might even get a better women's bout between these two in Brooklyn tomorrow. That was a great match. We had Austin Aries making his in-ring debut against Baron Corbin. Good match as well. Awesome opener between American Alpha and the Revival with American Alpha taking the NXT Tag Team titles. An amazing moment. You had also the in-ring debut. How could we forget, of Shinsuke Nakamura against Sami Zayn. In my opinion, the best match of 2016 up to this point anyway. Well, that might change after this week, and we'll see. But that was an amazing match. And then you fast forward to the main event, the rematch between Samoa Joe and Finn Balor for the NXT Championship. You also had Bobby Roode showing up in the crowd, Kota Ibushi. Again, just one of those shows that you're just so amped up for, lived up to the hype, maybe exceeded that hype. And just a really, really good show that once again was better than the WWE main roster pay-per-view from that same weekend. Coming in at number 2, it might be a bit of a wild card for some people, but I fucking love this show. Loved it when I watched it back. Loved it at the time. Just an amazing TakeOver special. Not from late 2015, early 2016, as, continuing the theme of the other 3 that I just mentioned, the aforementioned 3 TakeOver specials, but from December of 2014, Our Evolution. Again, did not watch this one with RJ. We were friends at the time, but I don't know. I didn't watch it over at his place. Again, just one of those shows. He did watch it live. We talked about it during the show, and then he texted me afterwards when he missed the ending final few minutes of the show, which I still give him shit for to this day. Again, one of those shows where you just what all these takeovers have in common, they just have this energy. They have this aura, this buzz around them. And this takeover was no exception to that. Our Evolution was just that, the revolution of NXT. You had not the in-ring debut, but the debut of the Demon in NXT, with Finn Balor teaming with Hideo Itami against the Ascension in a really, really good match. An amazing women's match, in my opinion, one of the more underrated women's matches in NXT history, between Charlotte and Sasha Banks for the NXT Women's Championship. You also had, I'm trying to remember like the rest of the card, but those are the matches that stood out to me. I think, what was Tyler? No, Tyler Breeze and Tyson Kidd were not on that show. The main event speaks for itself, which I'll get to in a moment. But what was the rest of that show? I couldn't even tell you, but it was such a good show. I'm going to look it up right now because it's going to fucking bother me. Let's see. TakeOver, Our Evolution. I know the main event, which I'll get to in just a moment, but I know we had the debut of the Demon, the great women's match. Baron Corbin having a quick squash. That was what it was. Oh, this is what it was. Lucha Dragons beating the Vaudevillains to retain the NXT Tag Team Championships. We had the debut of Kevin Owens. How could I forget in the opener? And that was an awesome opener, too, between him and CJ Parker, NXT's #1 resident jobber at a period in time. Great way to kick off the show. And then the main event. My favorite? I don't know if it's my favorite, but easily maybe my second. Definitely my second or third favorite, because I know what #1 is. Easily my second or third favorite NXT match ever, between Sami Zayn and Adrian Neville for the NXT Championship, culminating this amazing championship chase for the underdog from the underground of Sami Zayn. And the match, start to finish, such drama, emotion, storytelling, in-ring action, just exceptional. Check mark in each category. Just an amazing match. In my opinion, the best match of any match, WWE, NXT, whatever, of 2014. Sami Zayn coming full circle, winning the NXT Championship. This amazing celebration for Sami Zayn, only to be betrayed. Shockingly, some people saw it coming, but we completely forgot about it as they went off the air. They already showed like the little trademark thing in the corner of the screen. Kevin Owens slamming Sami Zayn's head right into the ramp and delivering a pop-up powerbomb to him, taking him out of action, putting him on the shelf for nearly 2 months, and kicking off one of the greatest feuds in recent WWE memory. So again, just an amazing show start to finish. Loved watching that back a few months ago. I think it was on the anniversary I watched it back in December of this past year, whatever. That was a really, really good show. And then we get to #1. NXT TakeOver. As you could probably tell, I wore this same exact shirt to that TakeOver last year. I won't be wearing it tomorrow. I'll be putting up a poll, if it's not up already, on Twitter on what shirt I should wear tomorrow. But anyway, you can't get much better than this. NXT TakeOver Brooklyn. And this is a rare case where I will say that it's not only my favorite TakeOver of all time, and how could it not be because I was there, but I will also go so far as to say the greatest NXT TakeOver of all time. That might be beaten tomorrow by NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2. Who knows? I certainly hope so. My expectations are pretty high for that show tomorrow. But you can't get much better than this show, man. I'm not even the biggest Vaudevillains fan, but when they won the NXT Tag Team titles from Blake and Murphy, and up to that point, the greatest tag team title match in the promotion's history, I went nuts. I was happy. The place came unglued for Blue Pants. You had a number of great matches. You had the debut of Apollo Crews against Ty Dellinger, just an amazing match as well. You had a great NXT Championship match in the main event, the second ever ladder match in NXT history between Finn Balor and Kevin Owens, a hard-hitting main event. Just a lot of great shit start to finish. I know you had one more match before the match I want to get to in a moment. Let me look it up right now. TakeOver Brooklyn. Those are 3 matches. I know what the 4th match is. Did we only have 4 matches? I feel like we had one more match other than that. Oh, obviously Samoa Joe and Baron Corbin. Oh, we had 2 more matches. Samoa Joe and Baron Corbin had a really, really good match as well. Enjoyed that. Enjoyed seeing Samoa Joe in a WWE ring for the first time. His TakeOver debut in the ring anyway. You had Tyler Breeze and Jushin Thunder Liger in the opener. Such a fun match. Tyler Breeze worked perfectly against the style of the wrestling legend that is Jushin Thunder Liger. Really enjoyed that. And then we get to my favorite match. Again, not only my favorite match from that show, not only my favorite match in NXT TakeOver history, not only my favorite match in NXT history, not only the greatest match I've ever seen live, but right up there, if not, not on the same level. Maybe not on the same level, but pretty fucking close, like right there. My favorite match of all time between Bayley and Sasha Banks for the NXT Women's Championship. A lot like, a la Sami Zayn and Neville from the year prior at Our Evolution. There was just this, amazing feeling in the air for people, for fans to finally see Bayley capture the NXT Women's Championship. Everything from the entrances to the video package to the in-ring action to just the little things, with Sasha stomping on the hands of Bayley when they were doing their match, and when she was trying to reach for the ropes, trying to do her thing. Sasha Banks mimicking Bayley, saying you're a loser, all that other kind of stuff. Bayley finally standing up to her former friend. Just everything about this match was so fucking good, man. It doesn't matter whether it's a men's match, a women's match. Just that is what wrestling is all about. Watching that match back, and I watched it back last night, it is just what wrestling is all about. What you love so much about professional wrestling. I thought this match captured in so many in so many minutes. I thought they did this to perfection. And not only that too, but the rest of the show I thought was just perfect, start to finish. Again, being my favorite takeover of all time and probably the greatest takeover of all time. Maybe up until tomorrow. We'll see if tomorrow can top it. And it was also the first time that takeover went outside of Full Sail University. So that itself was, again, just this energy in the arena that I just can't describe. You had to be there to experience it. That everything that they accomplished on that night was truly the kickoff of the revolution that is NXT in WWE. So those are my top 5 favorite takeover specials. I would love to hear what your guys' are. Up until tomorrow anyway. We'll see if tomorrow can top it. Again, cheap plug as well. 2 cheap plugs. One, or maybe a few cheap plugs, I guess. One, be sure to vote my poll on my Twitter page at WrestleRant. What shirt should they wear to TakeOver tomorrow? Whether it's going to be one shirt or the other, I'm still not sure what the options are going to be. But be sure to vote on that poll. If it's not up already, it probably should be. I think it will be up by Thursday. But be sure to vote in that. Also, be sure to check out the last TakeOver special-esque video blog that I did back in April on the Friday before TakeOver Dallas a few months ago, where I ranked my top 5 favorite TakeOver matches up to that point. Of course, excluding Nakamura and Zayn, which is probably not number 1, but 1 or 2 or 3. That was an amazing match, and I did my top 5 favorite TakeOver special matches leading up to that special, and that was back in the video blog. Just go to the playlist, check out the video blogs and whatever, and just go back a few months. You'll be able to find it. And last cheap plug here, just kind of miscellaneous shit. Be sure to just stay tuned here to the channel for exclusive content all weekend long. I'm going to have, if it's not up already, card rundowns for hopefully TakeOver and SummerSlam for this Saturday and Sunday. Exclusive video that I will be taking in the arena while I'm in attendance for all 3 shows, Raw, TakeOver, and SummerSlam on Sunday, Saturday, Monday, whatever. So just stay tuned here to the channel for just new videos going up all weekend long. It's going to be an amazing weekend. Last year, was not only the greatest weekend for me of 2015, but one of my favorite weekends of my fucking life. That's how amazing last year was, and I surely hope to repeat history this year as well. So that being said, guys, as always, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I promise, like I said, to get a better set in the future, but I'm so glad we finally have the black bars. Be gone black bars. And we are finally going to HD, a lot better of a image too here in the camera, so I appreciate that. So just to enhance your viewing experience here of not only the video blogs, but hashtag AskGSM videos as well, starting this Monday or Tuesday, depending when the video goes up. It might be Tuesday, depending what our schedule is for Raw on Monday, which it will be at, so we'll see. But all that being said, guys, enjoy SummerSlam weekend, TakeOver weekend, Raw weekend, whatever. The Back in Brooklyn weekend, as I like to call it, the No Sleep Till Brooklyn tour, finally comes to a screeching halt in just less than 24 hours. I can't fucking wait, dude. Enjoy the weekend, guys. I'm GSM Matthews, and I'll catch you guys down the road.